can be Clint Eastwood.
Here's another reason why you want to take control of what you're doing.
Everything kind of funnels into the only winning move is not to play the game.
So I got to ask permission to buy the gun, and then I got to pay to ask permission to carry the motherfucker outside of my house. How about you go fuck yourself?
Well, welcome to the Rutherford Report, and this is Ken and Jason. All my friends are here as usual. There he is, Mary Ken down at the bottom of the screen. Jason's over there on the right-hand side
with the new microphone.
With the new microphone, yeah, exactly. Did you steal that microphone or what? What's going on with that? You have a new microphone.
I beat the hell to someone for it. I bought it from Amazon. It was like $40.
That's a steal. Then you did steal it. You stole it.
Hopefully it sounds good, because if it does, I may use this one for work and buy myself a better one, something like what Harkos has.
It sounds okay. Well, we're going to do a continuation of Lisa Monet's story, her incredible story. And if you didn't hear the first part of the story, go back to episode 30 in the Weather Report Facebook
Bruce,
or wherever. Excuse me, what?
One thing from her last story, I was just mentioning to her earlier, I had goosebumps from that last story because it was so freaking good. I mean, I wasn't a business owner at the time, but just listening to it, it was all just bringing back all those memories of what happened. But yeah, I had goosebumps because it was such a great story.
Yeah, to live under that kind of rule, like I said, I live in California, so Governor Newsom really cracked down, and it wasn't until June of 2023 when the emergency orders were lifted. I mean, we were already going and doing business as usual, but the scare tactics of the government here in California lasted well into 2023. It's just surprising that it did so much, but where you have a bunch of sheeple here, so they will do anything that the government asks them to do, and I can't wait to leave. But it's just another story for another day. But we want to bring on a happy story, because what we're going to do is we're going to continue with the interview. And like I said, go back to episode 30 on YouTube, Rumble, or wherever you get this podcast from on your podcatchers. Go listen to episode 30. You can hear what Lisa Monet went through in Minnesota. But she is now out of Minnesota. She now has a business in Wisconsin, and we are happy to have Lisa Monet back, and we're going to bring her on right now. How you doing, Lisa? Hello. It's good to see you again.
Hi. Thanks for having me again. I feel like I haven't seen you guys for so long.
It's been forever. I mean, I'm still wearing the same shirt. You're still wearing the same dress. Ken's still Ken's still American, and Jason's still in a tank top. So I mean, it's like.
Ken, I just want to say that you've got some amazing friends.
I'm blessed with knowing some pretty awesome people. Lisa's someone I've known for a while, but we're not. Yeah. I mean, I would say that we know each other if we saw each other in a bar, of course, and sit. And then the last time I saw you was in May at a car show in Spring Valley, Wisconsin, where they shut the city streets down, and they had a car show run by a bar that was $5 to enter your car, and then they give you a $5 drink ticket. And you guys were there. You and some of your friends with your bikes were there, and
we were there. So Crystal, who owns Mooney's Rusty Horse in Spring Valley, super. Like, if you want to talk about a patriot, she follows politics.
yeah, big time.
He's very, very involved in the political world, and me and her, she supports me and I support her because we're both small business owners and women. So
yeah, it's fantastic. It was amazing to me how many women business owners were the ones that stood up during all that. And like you said, it was you. There was a few other ones in the state too that did it. It was like, I'm like, guys, we're and if you remember, in that room full of people that we were standing there, it was mostly the women business owners that were standing up saying, hey, we can't do this alone. We will,
right.
but stand up. And they're all just kind of like, oh yeah, well, I can't, this is uncomfortable now, you know? And I'm like, come on, guys.
So Ken, what you're saying is that the women have the balls.
And yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. In that situation, they did.
And that's awesome.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. I mean, Ken, as you know, one of our favorite people is Chris Hall, and I really wish you could take on this case for Lisa, I don't know if she would or not. But she always brings up the women of liberty and the founding mothers, like what's her name?
Abigail Adams.
Yes,
Was
and
one of them.
Iserbit. I can't remember her first name. I remember her last name, Iserbit. But just a lot of the women of liberty who just stood up to all this crap and they wouldn't use a fake name like some of the men would. They would just use their real names,
Right.
and they stood up to everything. And it's like, you know what? These chicks got some balls, and Lisa definitely does.
Lisa is one of them, and so Lisa, in the world of history, we were talking about Chris Ann Hall. Is it Liberty? What's it? Liberty
First University.
Liberty First University. But anyway, she has a story that's fantastic. It's true, that she talked about the Tea Party. We're in Boston, of course, where I'm from, and all these dudes dressed up as Indians and went and raided this ship. And it was a ship that happened to be a ship that John Hancock owned, and he actually repaid the tea company for all the tea that they threw over. And all the guys did it in secrecy, right? Well, down south, there was some things going on too, but it was the women of the business owners that were getting blockaded and taxed that stood up and said, "We will no longer buy any of your stuff. We will know." And they put their name on it. This is what you're talking about. So the women did what you just did during COVID. They actually were the ones that stood up, didn't hide behind some other group or anything like that. They just stood up themselves and said, "We're not going to buy any more of your stuff if you're going to be taxing it." And back then, that was treason. I mean, that was fully treason. The British could come and just execute them.
Yep.
So they were really putting their treasure on the line. And thank God we're not at that point. But with what happened to you, to be able to move through it, it's a winner's win moment. Why is a winner a winner?
Mhm.
Because they win.
Absolutely.
And that's what you're doing now. And so I tried to explain, and I couldn't remember exactly what it was, but I remember when you opened the bar in Wisconsin across the river, still in view of the state. You put up a poster or a billboard. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because I loved this.
Okay, so actually, it's on my roof. It's in 10-foot letters. So we are very close to the Red Wing Airport. And it would have been in 2022, the gubernatorial election was coming and Walz was running again. And we put in 10-foot letters in red, white, and blue, Walz failed, for every airplane that could pass over top, to see how I felt about it. And it's funny because I cross the border every day, and I don't know if it's appropriate or not, so I won't do it, but I flip off the state of Minnesota every day because, you know what, they tried to destroy me. And I was like, you did it. Now I'm here. But now I have some fear because, if Walz makes it into the White House, I'm not unreachable now in Wisconsin, so
that's
Very
true.
I'm spreading my word and I'm talking about what he did. And I don't think that, it's unfortunate, a lot of people vote party lines, but we've got that middle section of America that don't vote party lines. There's a middle section of people that either don't vote or they vote on issues, So I think that's really what I'm speaking out in isn't to flip some liberal on my side, because it's just essentially it's not going to happen. Just like none of us are going to vote for Kamala, it's what it is, but I think there's a really big section of the United States that are undecided. They vote on issues, they vote on integrity, they vote on people who they see as an American. And Walz isn't an American. He's not here for America. He's not here for the people.
He's here for himself.
Yeah, he's in. I don't know if you've heard the term "rocks and cows" in Minnesota. Are you familiar with that?
Yep.
Okay, so
I totally am.
I can explain a little bit if you would like. There was an election.
Bruce won't know what that's about. The rocks and cows comment. Yeah.
Yep. So I don't know when it was. I want to say it was in the 2018 election, the gubernatorial election. So Walz was traveling around the state and going and doing, his appearances. And they were like, well, how come you haven't gone to rural America? And his response is, there's nothing in rural America but rocks and cows. And we're talking about this man who's on platform as being some great little Minnesota farmer and a teacher, and he's all about the farmers. This man's not about it. All he said is they're not worth my time. They're not worth my campaign dollars, because all it is out there is rocks and cows. So they formed a group called the Rocks and Cows in Minnesota, and I think they're like 400,000 strong or something. I mean, it's an organization. Yeah. It's a political movement that says we're Rocks and Cows in Minnesota, and we have a voice, and we're here. So, you know, I think the thing that we have to remember on this election is that we're never going to flip the other side, but we're going to flip the people who haven't decided. We're going to make them know who this man is, you know, and that's why I'm speaking out, because I'll tell you what, I didn't want to ever relive this again. And I've moved on from it, and I'm happy, and I love Wisconsin, and I didn't want to relive this, but I spoke with Lisa Hansen. I think I had shared with you. She's the one that was down in Albert Lea. She owned the interchange. She was actually jailed for 60 days for violating the executive orders. And me and her talked on Monday, and I was like, are we doing this again? She goes, we don't really have a choice, do we? She goes, we need to let the country know what this man did to us. You know, so it's past what he did to us in the state. And now we look at this as somebody who might be coming into the United States and having a part in our country's affairs, you know, and this isn't somebody that could run a state the way we would want it run. We sure as hell are going to stand up and try to say whatever we can and tell our truth and tell what happened to us and tell our stories to anyone who's in the middle who hasn't decided what they're going to do. And they don't vote on party lines. They vote on issues. They vote on integrity. They vote on being an American, because that's who I was. I didn't even know I was a Republican. I just voted for Trump because I was like, hey, this guy sounds like he actually wants to fix America, you know?
And on one of Walz's speeches where he said that in Minnesota we leave people alone if we don't agree or something like that. I'm like, that is complete crap. Yeah. Like that is 100% bullshit. I'm like, everything that you're spewing out of your pie hole is complete and utter crap. You are lying through your fucking teeth. But one thing that I've noticed is that Walz really should be in Hollywood because he is a damn good actor.
Hell of an actor.
I'll tell you what. So I'm on the flip side of this. So you've got Governor Walz on the VP angle. I have Kamala Harris, who was the Attorney General and rose her way up from San Francisco politics to get where she is today. I know everything that there is to know about Kamala Harris, and I'm sure these three people that are under me right here know everything there is to know about Walz. And I've made it my duty, and I don't care about my brand and what it says about my brand or anything like that. I've gone a full court press against Kamala Harris and Governor Walz being even on the Democratic ticket, because I'm an independent voter. I'm not a Republican. I flipped my decision, I don't know, Ken, 3 or 4 times now, whether I was voting or not voting. But I mean, I feel so strongly in using my vote for somebody. I don't know what the somebody is yet. I'm going to vote because I want to get my vote off of the rolls. I want to get my address off the rolls. I want to vote as early as possible so I can get my vote in tabulated and nobody else could use my address or name or anything, because I've had my vote stolen before. But I know Kamala Harris. I know how she got to where she's going, and it's not hyperbole. It's not something that the tabloids came out with or the Republican talking points or anything like that.
You watched it happen.
I watched it happen. So I know from personal experience what Kamala Harris is all about. You three know by personal experience what Governor Walz is all about. And I just wanted to interject that into you to let you know where I stand with this thing. I think that Trump is probably the best thing for the country right now. We're going to have to vote between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. And right now, my vote's going for Donald Trump. It'll never go for Kamala Harris. But right now, I've got to make a full court press against this. And the Democratic voter, the blue Democratic voter who already has their mind up, I'm not looking to change their mind. I'm looking for those people, those low education people that are independents, that don't know what the hell's going on, that never heard of Governor Walz, never heard of Kamala Harris, other than the fact that she was the VP of the United States, who have done absolutely nothing for this country. And I just want to make sure that all my independent friends, anybody who sees this podcast, or anybody who listens to our X Spaces in the morning, knows what Kamala Harris and Governor Walz is all about.
Exactly. And by the middle, in here's the deal: people are just living their lives.
Yeah.
I'm a political junkie. I got into it and just dove in both feet first and saw how the sausage was made, and it was disgusting. But I still, I watch it, I pay attention to it, and now I actually just jump back in because of Walz. So Walz made me go back into the Republican Party. I'm a card-carrying member in Wisconsin now as of last week. The day they announced it, I went right down to the office and I'm like, I enlisted. I said, all right, guys, I used to be an activist. I'm coming out of, it's John Wick. I'm kind of thinking I'm back. So, but most people just want to live their lives. They don't want to have to pay attention to politics. They just want to trust the people. And like I was mentioning about the way they treated Lisa's case and their story in the press, they made her look like this evil person. And she just is, well, you've listened to her on this show now for a little while. And if you listen to episode 30, I believe you said it was, you can tell she's not an evil person. This is someone that was persecuted and came through the other side. And this is the story. But
the Andy Dufresne of Minnesota.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Jason.
What I got out of the last episode is shut up, Ken. What I got out of the last episode is Lisa seems like a person who I could totally sit down with and have a drink with. She is not a person who is going to. You don't drink? Okay. You're somebody who I can sit down and have a cup of coffee with.
You can have a burger with you.
Totally have a cup of coffee with, or have some wings with.
That's why she has a successful bar.
Yeah,
could be. Mm-hmm. But yeah, she is not this person that the media has made out to be.
No, not at all.
Even Walz.
Right. So let's get to the happy story, Lisa. So you if you want to hear the story about Lisa and her woes about Minnesota, go back to episode 30 and listen to it. But we're here about the success story of when she actually crossed the border and opened up this new bar called the Outpost Bar and Grill in Wisconsin. Tell us how that went. Tell us your trial of getting that started, and tell us the success that you've been having and what you're all about now.
So I own the Outpost, and I'm going to ask you guys a trivia question. Does anyone know what Outpost means?
Dun, 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 I don't have a cowboy here.
Was it was it Outpost as in the outposts as we moved west? There was outposts placed all over the place in the Midwest where it was
the military forefront for fighting.
Yep.
So it was military camp or positioned some distance from the main force, used especially as a guard against surprise attack.
Yep. That's why I named it the Outpost, because it was my way to fight back. So that's where the name came from. Yeah. And I was absolutely terrified. So I have 32 years experience now in bar and restaurants. I've been in Minnesota.
Start when you were 6?
Yeah, kind of. No, I was a single mom at 20 years old, and I got into the restaurant industry. I have a 4-year degree from Hamline University, and I've been in this restaurant industry now 32 years. I've been in the South Metro as a bartender, owner, manager, catering manager, everything you can imagine, for 30 years. If I moved from one bar to another, I had a whole group of people that would come for me. So when I moved to Wisconsin, I was an hour away from the South Metro. I was terrified. I was scared shitless. I bought a bar in a town of 442 people.
Yeah, it's small town.
Small town, right on 35. So I knew that I knew I could grow it. I knew I could build it. When I came there, I was the outsider. I was a city girl, and I was kind of shunned by the locals. They didn't give me a chance in the beginning. Some of them did, and I met some really amazing people. And it kind of took them a little while to really get to know me. They'd come in, and then they'd meet me, and then be like, "Oh wow, she's not that city girl that we saw or we thought." Because I'm pretty down to earth. I look pretty girly, but I'm really not really that girly at all.
I know how that goes.
Yeah, you what?
I know exactly how that goes, except for the whole city girl thing. Because I'll go out hunting with my brother out on the South Dakota border, and people out there do not like people from the cities because they're pretentious and they're just stuck up. And I'm just not about that. I'm just, I flow with the country folk.
Yeah. I mean, I was raised blue collar. My dad was a blue collar worker. My mom stayed home with us. I wasn't raised with money. Alibi brought us. We were very successful at Alibi. We were very successful. But that's not how I was raised, and that's not who I am. I'm a hard worker. I bust my ass. I busted my ass for everything I've had today. And starting over, I was terrified. I was like, what am I going to do? And slowly but surely, people started to come in and like me. And I'm now out there, and more people are starting to know me, and more people are coming to my bar. And it's still like, it's been 2.5 years. And if I'm out and I'm not coming in, I do a lot of open shifts. I do a lot of double shifts during the week, typically on Saturday. I do a lot of different fundraising events. I do a lot of fundraising rides. We have a lot of rides that come to our bar, and I do a lot of promotional stuff on Saturdays. But when I come to my bar and I'm not coming at 10:30 because there's nobody there at 10:30, we open at 11, and I come around the corner and I see people in my parking lot, it still makes my heart melt. It's still 2.5 years later. I'm like, people still like me. They're still coming here. Oh my gosh, look at these people. And it's just, I don't know. I'm just so blessed. And I've met so many amazing people. And my heart couldn't be happier with where I am. And, God does things in your life, and things happen. And, when I took this fight on, I'm a Christian. And when I took this fight on, and God says he'll pay you back tenfold, and I always thought that meant that financially I would be paid back tenfold for losing my bar, because I was taking a stand for America, for Christianity, for what was right, for what people fought for our country. And after I really took a step back and realized what that meant, God's not necessarily going to make me as rich as I was at Alibi. And that's okay, because he's blessed me tenfold with amazing people. And I now have a platform where I can talk about the things that happened, and I'm safe. And I just am so happy. There's no way to describe just what the community is and what it means. I can't even explain it, but
yeah, I totally get it. Like when, like the joy you said you get when there's people in your parking lot, I get that whenever an order comes through.
Yeah.
For me, because I do I do multiple different things. But whenever an order comes through for me, it's like, holy shit, somebody actually likes what I do. And it's just like a heartwarming thing. It's just, I love it.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that it's what really keeps me going. I mean, there was times that when we were going through that, and like I said, if you read the newspapers, you can see what I was going through in my personal life too. And there's a lot of things that I went through that weren't in the newspapers too. And I was completely broken, and after that all happened, I kind of took 4 months, and I got on my Harley and I wrote a lot. My best friend would call me, I was on a hiatus. I was on a sabbatical from life, and then I decided I needed to do something. And when I got this bar, and I really think that you're brought places in life for different reasons. And
yep.
And it's like, I'm not going to be like, oh, well, this is, divine intervention, but maybe it is, if my voice can reach people and reach thousands of people. And do I think Trump's the best candidate for our country in the long-term ideal of life? Probably. I wouldn't pick him because he made so many enemies, and I don't want to see our country divided. But he's definitely better than the other option, and if I can speak up, then God gave me this platform to be able to, I don't know. It's just.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've been in this business. You've been in this business for a long time, and you happen to pick a business that is really, honestly, a very hard business to keep open. Let alone the the problems that you had in Minnesota. What is your secret to success with opening up restaurants and bars and grills and keeping them just open and prosperous? I mean, it sounds to me like God has definitely touched you with the talent to be able to
entrepreneurial spirit.
Good food is one of them.
So when we were writing up, so we were going to go for a business loan, a SBA loan, when we were getting our first bar. And me and my partner sat down and we were writing our business plan. And our business objective was super easy. It was 2 words. It was be nice. And I've always done that. You know, there's something to be said about being nice to people. And somebody walks in your door. If somebody walks in, I treat people who walk into my bar like they're walking into my home. You know what I mean? Hi, how are you? You know, I'll be sitting at the bar, you know, just sitting at the bar on this side of it, talking to people, and the front door opens. And I turn and I look at them. I'm like, hi, how are you? And they look at me like I'm a weirdo because they don't know who I am. You know, they just think I'm some random person sitting at the bar saying hi. But, you know, when I bought the bar, I inherited a lot of staff and they are absolutely amazing. But I really preach that to my staff. You know, we've got, it's tough out there right now. The economy is tough. Families are struggling. Food is high. Gas is high. Electric is high. Mortgages are high. Everything is high out there. And every single person that walks through our doors, like, we'll say the average factory worker makes $25 an hour, right? Well, when they come in with their family and they have a family of 4 and they order food, and we have to price our food for the economy, and they have a couple drinks and they're looking at $50 a tab. They just gave me 2 hours of their hard work time. They gave me, at a 40-hour work week, they gave me 2 hours of their time. Like, that's huge to me. So if they're going to come in and they're going to give me 2 hours of their hard work time that they weren't with their family, that they were sweating, that they were laboring, that they were under a car, that they were in a hot box, that they were in it doesn't matter what they do, driving semi, it doesn't matter what they were doing. They're giving me their time. They're giving me their hard-earned money. The least I can do is be nice to them and appreciate them. So that's really just been my business model. And I'm not always nice. Sometimes I'm a bitch.
Amen.
That happens. Shit happens.
100%.
Sometimes I'm crabby. Sometimes I snap when I shouldn't. Sometimes, because, you know, but at the end of the day, I try to really just make sure that I know that they know I appreciate them, and I ask them how their day is, and I ask them how their family is. And you know what I mean? Because I think that people forget that you got to be nice today. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, you mentioned something earlier about, you know, there was a time where, you know, you kind of just jumped on your bike and went riding. There's a stereotype about people that ride motorcycles about, you know, they call it their therapist and stuff like that. And it's like, it's trying to explain someone that never had kids, what it's like to have kids if you don't have a motorcycle. It is I rode more during the COVID years than I had done it. I lived 50 miles away from my company that I work at, and we closed down. We had just a skeleton crew going on. We're in the motorcycle industry, so we were considered transportation, which was an essential service, which was, you know, wonderful. But riding back and forth that 50 miles, number one, for that summer of 2020, it was heaven on earth riding a motorcycle because there was nobody on the road to kill you.
Yep.
And you could go as fast as you want.
It was amazing.
Wasn't it
Nobody
awesome?
on the
I mean,
road.
you could drive any 8 o'clock in the morning going through Minneapolis. There was nobody there because all the rioters had gone to bed. It was just smoke. You just go right through. But motorcycles are there is something to it. And I think 2 questions. One, I can see from your images, and I follow you on Facebook all the time, and I share a lot of your stuff. But there's a motorcycle element to the bar. But I'm wondering if you had motorcycle people that followed you then now, because it's a little ways away from where your old place was. What did you carry a lot of customers over?
I get a lot of customers from the cities. I get a lot of regulars from the cities. I get a lot of regulars that I've met along the way. I get a lot of people from my own community. You know what I mean? I guess one of the first weeks that I opened back in March of 2022, and I came into my work and I walked in and there was like 15 different people it was the first nice day to ride. And there's like 15 people that I knew from the cities, and I started crying. I was like, you guys drove an hour to see me. You drove an hour to support me. And I still feel like that, but people come just because, like I said, my staff is amazing. Everyone's amazing there. And it just has a really good feel of just happiness. And, you know, I got a lot of people that support me along the way that have become my supporters, a lot of people that travel to see me, but a lot of people that are in the community that I have grown to just adore. I absolutely adore. Like, I'll go to Dollar General. It's like 2 blocks away on my bike. So I live 2 hours away from work, or I live an hour away. So I commute 2 hours a day. So when I'll be driving down Dollar General and I feel like I'm in Mayberry, you know, I'm like, oh, hi.
Yeah.
And I'll go 2 blocks and I'll see like 10 people that I know. And I'm like, and it just gives me this it's just small town America. And I freaking love it. It's
Yeah.
who I am. I don't know. I never
I
thought
moved-
I was a small town girl, and I freaking am in love with that town. So yeah.
One thing I want to
let me interrupt. I'm at 6% right now. So if my phone dies, it's not because I don't love you guys and I'm not having fun. It's because I lost my sign.
Okay.
No, that's not a problem because yeah, if you're down to 6%, that's okay. We got your story. I mean, it's just a wonderful story, and I love the way that you exemplified the fact that people are spending their hard-earned money for your product that you serve up. And that's important because a lot of business owners don't think about that when they buy a product from you, they're actually spending their hard-earned money because they found value in your product, and they found and they might or might not find you know, honesty in your product. But basically, when I go to establishment, I'm looking to be served because I'm spending my hard-earned money there. And basically, when people come to my podcast, I expect to entertain them, and if they need something else, I encourage them. Hey, give me a comment, send me a like, a dislike, say you hate me, say you don't, whatever. I respond out of feedback, and I just think it's absolutely incredible what you've done. I think it's absolutely incredible by the pictures that I see on your Facebook page. You guys go to the Facebook page here, Outpost Bar and Grill, Wisconsin, at Facebook. And I love your webpage. I think it's absolutely incredible.
A lot of fun.
So and I don't want you to be cut off on your last 6%. So we're gonna go ahead and let it go around the horn here. Get your last comments, and Jason and Ken can get their last comments or opinions in, and then we'll let you go.
One thing that I want to interject real quick is that you mentioned about the whole therapeutic bike ride. I've got a degree in computer programming, and one thing that I would do anytime that I ran into a problem where a program I couldn't figure out how to do is I'm a bike rider, bicycle rider, and I would go for a bike ride, and I would call them my house moments. So if you watched House MD, you would know that he would have his moments at the very end where he would figure everything out. Those are my house moments, and I think that everybody has them in their own sort of certain way. And you've got them on your Harley, I've got them on my bicycle, and the answer would just come to me on a bike ride, and it's awesome.
Yeah, I spend a lot of time thinking on my bike.
It's so therapeutic. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
I do that in my garden. It's a different thing.
Yeah, I think everyone has their peace inside of them. You know, it's just you find that peace. I mean, I've only been riding for 5 years, and I don't know where my life was before that. Because I tell you what, I wouldn't have made it through COVID without it. You know.
Yeah.
You picked a good time to pick up riding.
Yeah, my piece is with my hands in dirt and creating stuff out of soil. That is my piece, and
that's my piece.
Of course, Ken's got to show off his piece all the time.
Well, I got to show him.
We heard that about you.
Ken,
I brought the big guns. I don't know. I don't know. You can't really see it on the shirt here. These aren't just flowers and hula girls. The hula girls are all holding M16s.
Ken, one of these days, I think that you and I should go to her bar.
Absolutely.
Have a few drinks there.
Have some food.
When I come out to Minnesota next year, I will definitely tell Ken, take me to Lisa's bar.
Oh, God.
You're about an hour and 6 minutes from my house. So, and you just told me you drive an hour anyway, so I have zero excuse.
We can make it.
Yeah, and I know how far you are from me because I know where you live, and you're the same distance for me.
Yep.
I know you both live. No.
So now you just picked up. This was worth it for 2.5 new customers.
Yeah.
But Bruce is a
Exactly.
big spender when he comes out, so he'll really, he'll buy the bar around.
I'll cook for you too.
I'm
He
at
will cook for you. Too. He's
2%.
hell of a cook.
2%.
All right. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you so
We
much for having me.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming
of
on, and
course.
we'll have you on again as soon as we can. So
I
anybody
love the
else?
story. I
Thank you
love the
guys for
story.
listening to thank you guys for listening to the podcast. Catch us on X in the morning, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And you can hear us on a more candid, talking about the news, politics, and everything else that's going around. Lisa, thank you again for being on the Weather Report, and we will see you next time. See you later,
Sounds
guys.
good. Thank you, guys.
Take
Have a great
care.
night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.